Hello world, welcome back to Accelerate and welcome back to my EJ2 Civic Coupe, or my forever car as I'm calling it. Today we're going to run through everything that's wrong with it. We're going to get underneath it, I'm going to show you what a 90s Civic looks like these days, and I'm going to run through some future plans, and yes, I am dreading this a little bit. I have always loved Civics, and since owning and selling a few EJ2 Coupes, I vow to buy another and keep it. With the prices of JDM cars rising rapidly, this seemed like an impossible dream for me, so I started to let it go, until one of my mates, Connor, told me he'd bought an EJ2 and offered me to do a video on it. As you would have seen from the previous Civic video, that EJ2 is now mine. It's certainly a project car, hence why I could afford it, so we're going to run through the issues I've found so far. Right, so we're going to start at the front, mainly with the cosmetics. By the time I'm done with this car is going to look completely different. So let's start right at the beginning. This thing drives me absolutely nuts. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but that is a 4x4 plate, and if you're going to run a square plate, it needs to be an import size. It's a weird like, ick of mine. So that is going to be coming straight off. That's probably the first thing I'm going to rip off. I have done some research. You can still get body panels for these, which is a massive relief, because as much as you can repaint the bonnet and things like that, I don't know if you can see all the craze in the paint, and there's a lot of little dings and dents. So fortunately you can still get the bonnet. You may have noticed it's got a different color wing. That looks like Tahiti green off a hatch. Again, could probably repaint it, but the surface looks so bumpy. I'm not even going to bother. You can still get the wings for them. The only thing I'm worried about is fitment. I know a lot of the Honda boys love the amber lenses, the amber indicators. I'm not a huge fan, along with the side repeaters, so I do want to go clear, or you can actually get like the depot style ones with the black inserts. Yeah, we'll figure that out when we figure out the paint color, because I am planning on changing the color of the car completely. I actually forgot to put this in the original recording, hence it's a different day, hence why the car's a different way around. But one thing I forgot to mention that I am going to need sourcing is the door check strap there. As you can see, has completely snapped off, so if I let this door go, it will end up just swinging around and definitely causing some damage. This is why I said I'm going to need help from you guys to reliably source some parts. Another very annoying problem is, actually we'll start with, so it's basically to do with the front indicators. If I turn the side lights on, now I've got a theory here. It looks like someone has tried to do the USDM amber running lights, not working on that side for some reason, but then when you try and use the indicators, you get the annoying flashing to indicate that you've got a bulb out. There is a bulb out on this side, but even the one that's working on that side, you get the annoying flash from the side repeater in the rear, and that one is still on. I'm guessing it's some dodgy wiring. One of the worst things with cars is trying to not only take after someone else's project, but taking after someone else's wiring. It's always a bit scary. The bumper doesn't look, I say it doesn't look too bad. It's got a few chunks missing. I'm pretty sure you can still get these. This has definitely seen some things, and could probably tell us some stories. There are a multitude of different lips you can get. I haven't actually made my mind up. I've run a couple of different ones in the past. Like I said, fortunately, they are very, very available. The good thing is, and just little, obviously, touch-ups like that, we're going to take off and paint. Very, very fortunate with this, because it's a D50, well, any Honda engine really, mechanically it is pretty sound. If I was being very picky, the clutch is not as grippy as it used to be. It's not slipping by any means. The bite is not really high, but I have got a spare XZE clutch, and I've obviously done the clutch in one of these before anyway, so that is something to look at. And apart from a few bolts missing, there's really not much to do mechanically, apart from clean it up. And obviously if we're going to paint it, I'd like to go the whole hog and paint the engine bay as well. In the previous video I mentioned these wheels. I do like them, I just don't think they suit the coupe. I think they belong on a smaller car like the hatch. I would probably get these refurbed, but I've got a few other wheels that I think would look a lot better. And to be honest, a small part of me wants to run 16s, because that's something I've always wanted to do. But hey ho, it's a shame, because this wing is a lot cleaner than the other one, as in dents wise in the bonnet and everything, but then we've got this lovely rust patch here, so it's gonna need a new wing anyway. And annoyingly, I hate it when people do that. Just fit them properly. They've jammed some screws in there into the side skirts. I'm pretty sure you can get them, I really hope. If you guys have got any, I know we know a lot of Civic people or Honda people. If you know any good resources or people, then please let me know. The arches are not too bad at all. It's all pretty solid. You can see the old tin worm is starting to get to it, but it is all pretty solid. And there's a lot of, as you can see, a lot of crud in there. A lot of people forget to clean in there, and that's where moisture grabs, and that's what causes rust. But like I said, there's a bit of bubbling that I'm not happy with, and obviously doesn't quite sit right. So what I do want to do is send it down to Craig and get him to get it looking spot on. I've just realised I've jammed this right up against the wall because I do want to drive it up on the ramp so we can get it on jacks and get underneath. In the boot, it is completely missing the floor. Probably going to struggle to get one for the coupe, to be fair, but I imagine I could probably just make one out of wood. At least it has got a spare wheel, but that's going to be another little project. And maybe this boot is huge, so what I'm thinking is maybe get a subwoofer or two in there just to relive my youth, my younger days. The interior I am not looking forward to doing because, again, I don't know how readily available the parts are. Really bugs me that is grey. We've got a grey door card with a black interior, and again, I'm going to be looking for advice on this because I know you can dye them a different colour, but I don't know if that's a reliable way to do it. So if anyone's got any ideas, or if anyone's done that before, then please let me know, because interiors is something I have very little experience with. The headline is not too bad, in fairness. That steering wheel, although it's very 90s Honda, that is definitely going to be going. We are very limited with OEM options with the EG and EJs, but I have already got a Boss kit and a number of steering wheels to choose from. But apart from that, a few little bits missing here. I've really wanted the armrest. I don't think this is out of a Civic because it really doesn't fit, so that's something else I really want to try and make fit. And apart from little bits like that simply not being there, I just want to tidy that up to make it look nice. The back is pretty sorted. The back panels are black, I think. Yeah, they are, so I'm pretty happy with that. So fortunately, there's not a great deal to do on the interior, but it's the one I'm dreading the most because I don't know. Well, I know interior bits on these are getting rare and rather expensive. Right, it's the part we've all been waiting for. I'm going to get it up on the ramps. I'm not sure where I can jack underneath on this, and I don't know how solid it is. So what I'm going to do is drive it onto the little ramps I've got. But obviously I've got to connect the battery first and then jack it up, because I do really want to get underneath it and show you guys what it's like, because that is one of the main reasons I purchased this one. And I'm going to hope that it starts, because it's been sat for... How long has it been sat now? Is it really? Yeah. Please start. This will ruin the whole video otherwise. It is an old Honda, so yeah. But you don't know anything. And for some reason, being the genius I am, I've parked it right against the wall, so I got to just climb in and
Yes, guys, this is the genius behind the sound.
Yep, this is what we do. Do me a favour, stand behind. Oh, right, it's flashing. Just want to get a cold start from the exhaust. I just realised I asked you to do a cold start. I got the microphone around my neck, so it was picking up the audio from in here. It's very late, guys. I've had a long day, okay?
Again.
Yes, I'm the genius. Right, so what we're going to do now, which I should have done before I got in here, set the ramps up. Not before I embarrass myself. Ah! Yes, we're very professional here. These guys, if you've got a low car, very worth investing in, about 30 quid delivered. And with cars like this, I bought them for the hatch, and it literally just gives you that bit more clearance to get a jack underneath. So it is very handy. And worryingly now, I'm going to rely on Georgia to help me get on these ramps. I've just thought of another issue. Very typical Civic thing. I'm sure I've had it on a couple of mine. The squeaky clutch. There's a few things it could be. I think some of them are quite easy fixes, so that'll be an interesting one to diagnose as well. And as I'm saying all this, the list is just getting longer and longer.
This guy.
That's very true. So as you can see, it gives you that little bit more room there to get a jack underneath. I do not like jacking from the sills, no matter what car it is, especially an old 90s Civic. So what you can do is jack from a solid mounting point, so where either suspension mounts or the subframe mounts. So I'll find that. It's just too late for this and it's too cold. The car is now safely up in the air, and obviously anytime we're working under a car, always use axle stands, guys, for the love of God. So, first look under here. Obviously, my first thing was rust, and I told myself if this thing was rotten, then don't get it. And in fairness to Connor, he actually let me keep the car for a couple of days, and I told him I was going to be getting on a ramp to inspect it, and he was just like, yep, crack on, that's how you know an honest seller. So Con, fair play to you, man. So starting off with this corner, it's pretty decent. It's exactly what I expect. Well, it's a bit better actually than what I expected from an old Civic. And the good thing is, I'm not sure what brand they are, but we are running on coilovers there. It is a bit low. Moving down, as much as I thought, oh great, there's no rust, what I was greeted with is sort of the opposite of rust. We have many leaks. It's very moist under here. It looks like both of the diff seals are leaking. I am pretty sure they're very readily available because Yayan obviously just rebuilt my S20 box for me, and I imagine they're going to be similar, if not the same. But then what wasn't a nice surprise is, as you can probably see there, 3 of the 4 CV boots are split and they have thrown grease absolutely everywhere. So what I think I might do is just bite the bullet and just buy some new drive shafts just for peace of mind. Yeah, the moistness carries on there. It's hard to tell if that is just all the gearbox oil. And the worrying thing is there's no dipstick on a gearbox, so you can't tell. I don't know how long it's been leaking, so I don't know how much oil is in there. But obviously before we get out on the road, we're going to be sorting all that. What I did notice, which was a pleasant surprise, red anti-roll bar. Now, I'm pretty sure these didn't come standard with a red anti-roll bar, and it does look quite chunky for an LSI. So it looks like someone's put some love into this with the coilovers and the anti-roll bar at the front. But apart from that, and obviously some tidying up, I don't know. I'm becoming obsessed. I really do. After seeing what it's done to the MX-5, I do want to get all this powder coated. But again, I don't want to turn it into a show car that I'm not going to want to drive. So I know there's enough people there that'll keep me in line. Got some rust there on the sump. It looks pretty solid in fairness, so I don't think that's anything to worry about just yet. Now we're getting into the scary part of Civics. All the mounting points there are solid, which I am over the moon with. The jacking tabs there, I believe all 4 of them are still intact, which is fantastic. The sills here, as you can see, is a little bit of surface, but we had I had the MOT tested in work, had a good look, and he had a good tap around, and he's quite critical, which is what I wanted. But even he said he's surprised how clean it is for an old Civic, and he's really not a Honda guy. Moving down, this is where one of the bad points were. Now, don't get me wrong, it is solid all around here. We've had a good tap. Although there's a lot of flaking, it is surface. But on the other side, I don't think we'll be able to get there today, unfortunately. There's definitely some pigeon poop welds over there. I don't know who the heck welded. I mean, I can't judge, I can't weld, but I know that is not the greatest one. I believe this has probably had a bit of welding before because there is no jacking, what you call them, the little pinch point. But again, I'm not bothered about originality like that as long as it's solid, which I do believe it is. Coming to the back, obviously it wouldn't be a Civic unless you had aftermarket lower arms. So it's got lower arms there, and even the beam, which we'll have a look in a minute, is aftermarket as well. I do want to change the trailing arm bushes. They are sort of known to go, and they're supposed to be a very good upgrade and very readily available for poly bushing. You can get all of these in poly bushing. So yeah, I haven't told Georgia yet, but I think I'm going to get carried away with this one too. Love you. It's coming under the rear. The M2 Motorsport, there's the rear beam just there, and a better view of the lower control arms. Obviously coilovers on the rear. They do look a tad old. They probably are going to go BCs eventually, just because you can't go wrong with them. But we are going to see if we can clean these up just to get them nice for the time being. And there is the mishmash of an exhaust. The annoying thing is, I really like how it sounds, I just really don't like how it looks. So for now, I think we're going to, and the coupes. The coupes are so much harder to get exhaust for. The hatches are so popular, there's loads of options with a coupe. Anytime you type in coupe or look for coupe, it's a freaking nightmare. But hey ho, that's the price of rarity. Looking around here, I mean, look at everything is a lot more solid. We've got some surface rust, but it's a lot more solid than I thought it was going to be. And that, my friends, yes, I'm still dying. That is what drew me to this car, and that is why I've bought it, and that is why I thought this was going to be the perfect base for my forever project car. But the more I'm going around it, the more I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to be another big project. But hey-ho, it's going to be one that I'm going to thoroughly enjoy. I am thoroughly enjoying the MX-5 one. I know we haven't had an update on that for a while. We've had a few people asking. In case you haven't noticed, we are at... ow! There's stuff on the floor. As you can see, it's still not tidy. This is mine and George's unit. We are still in the process of tidying and organising. But as you can see, it is torrential rain outside. But we've now got somewhere to work on our cars. The MX-5, both of them, thanks to Scott at Phoenix Detailing, they are about 100 yards up there. So I'm really hoping now... oh, and also, I finally managed to get the MX-5 engine onto a stand. Got the gearbox and everything there. So everything is there. It's just now having the time to get everything sorted and get it built. But it's nice to see you guys are still interested in the MX-5 build. I know it's been dragging on. But this one, we may not be seeing too much of as of yet. I know I'm probably going to get bored and start looking at the problems and stuff. But we are going to be focusing our attention on the MX-5 and obviously with the VXR build at the moment. That is the main one. That is our bread and butter. That's the main thing. But yeah, for now, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We will see you in the next one. I'm coughing again.